Hello and welcome to Calyx, and this is a game where you play as an employee of a wonderful mining corporation and you're sent to an alien world to extract the ore, for a lot of profits of course. And unfortunately for you, your main enemy is a rather carnivorous plant. Or many different carnivorous plant life, and we are going to obviously be attempting to exterminate them while also trying to complete our objective. We're not going to be doing the tutorial today, but we are going to do the example level that is available as a part of the demo. If you want to check out the game, by the way, and indeed play the demo yourself, then there is a link in the description, and I would highly recommend adding it to your Steam wishlist if you're interested at all. This is an extremely fun experience, and you're going to get to see exactly why. So before we dive into the gameplay, this is a message from the developers, and you see here, the level you're about to play is a gameplay proof of concept. Complexity-wise, we would place it around 25 to 30% through the game. By this point, we would expect players to know how to play and how to beat the green plant. They will also have upgraded and unlocked new units and buildings. In this level, we introduce them to the pink plant that grows acid-spitting pods. Players will need to adapt their tactics as this is the first ranged plant they come across. Alright, so this is where we get the opportunity to fight against 3 different enemies. There is a wonderful pausing system in the game as well, and as you see here, the first thing you need to do is place your hub. Keep it safe as it's game over if the hub is destroyed, and the pro tip is to place them in the bottom right potentially. It's probably the easiest place to start your facility, but if you're up for a challenge, then start on the island in the middle. For me personally, and now this is going to be quite funny. Let me actually just show you something real fast. So this is where the pink plant is going to spawn. You see that? You see that right there? There's the pink plant. And this is where one of the green plants is going to spawn, right about here. So top left, top right, and kind of middle left, I guess. And this is where another green one is going to spawn. So generally, they say that if you want a challenge, you should spawn your base round about here. And I think that's kind of interesting because I actually spawned my base in my first run over in the bottom right, and I thought, okay, well, let me just try and make it as easy as possible on myself because I don't know how difficult this game's going to be. And I did okay. I didn't win or anything like that, but then my second run I absolutely destroyed. And I was playing in the bottom right once again. So I think we'll play over here and we'll see how this goes, shall we? Alright, so let me pause real fast, because what I want to do immediately is draw your attention to the top left of the screen. So you see here we have, well, a load of different objectives, and our main objective, of course, is to eliminate all 3 enemies as fast as we possibly can, because we need to finish under 60 minutes. This game can be played either extremely slowly or extremely quickly. It very much depends on your own play style. And, as you see there, it is also very much required or needed, in an optional sense, of course, to keep your hostiles coverage under 50, actually 90%, not 50%, under 90%. And you'll see exactly what that means as well as to have us lose less than 10 units. So let's see what happens. So I'm basically just going to start playing the game now. We're just going to let this go. Build defenses before the plants reach your base. You can build walls, you can build machine gun turrets, you can build all that kind of stuff as well, but you can also build tanks. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Pause the game to get more planning time. Build heavier weapons to combat the denser plant. Alright, so first of all, I am going to, once again, pause. Okay, I'm going to pause, and we are going to place a couple of mines. This is extremely important, probably the most important thing that we can do. And I'm going to be attempting to build as many as possible here, as many as possible that are actually going to provide us with a significant amount of ore. I have to be a little bit careful here as well. I want to make sure I'm being super good with that. And now we have 400 gold remaining. So basically, well, 400 credits, shall we say, because these are credits. And you make credits, and this is a very interesting mechanic in my opinion. You make credits by mining ore and then sending the ore into orbit through the use of a shuttle. And every single time you send up a shuttle, you get 100 credits because you're transferring 100 ore and so on. So that's basically how that goes. Now, what we want to do is we also want to build solar panels. Solar panels are your basically your bread and butter power supply kind of thing. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to do this, and we are going to build here. And we're going to just do something like this. There we go. That's all good. And I think that's touching, right? I think that's touching. Anyway, I want to try to see whether I think that is indeed touching. So let's get another one of these. And now that is all up and running, what we're going to do is we're going to wait. We have to wait until we have enough ore to be able to create our ore transport building. This sends ore to the mothership in orbit. It uses a huge amount of power, by the way, when loading. So that's the reason why it is very recommended, and as you can see, the entity is approaching our position right now. That's the reason why it's very, very recommended that we go over to our power tab and we build a battery. Building a battery, very, very important. It's going to increase your maximum power capacity by 5,000, which is amazing. It's very, very good. However, you are going to need 250 credits to be able to make this work, which is quite a significant amount, you know. It's quite a large amount. So anyway, let's just get this. I'm going to place it around about here on the left side. Doesn't really matter where we place it. And I'm going to try my hardest to get my 4 light tanks, because we have 4 light tanks to start off with. And what I want to do is I want to get these guys into a position where they can kill off the pink plant instantaneously. This is what I have kind of formulated as being a relatively decent strategy when it comes to dealing with the pink plant, because let me tell you, if you let the pink plant expand and actually cover the entirety of the map, you will have problems. You will have big, big issues, and well, I don't really want to have to deal with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a little bit of a rush tactic here. And we are basically just going to go right into this guy's face. And we're going to try to do as much damage as possible to him. And then, once we are done with this guy, we're going to make our way down here. And this is the green guy, right? This is the green guy that we need to do. That's the reason why I said to you, having a base in the middle is actually much better for us. And that's the funny thing, it's much better for us. You know why it's much better? Because we can get to the pink plant that much faster, because otherwise, if I was spawning in the bottom right here, it would take me a long time for my tanks to get over to that position. And as you can see, look at that, we've already completed our first objective. Well, a third of our first objective, of course, which is to eliminate, you know, all 3 enemies. But we've taken down 1 so far, which is very, very good. Now you must. Okay, here's one thing you have to realize. These roots, you see these roots right here? They have a lot more HP than the greenery and the foliage and so on and so forth that we are killing right now. So the best course of action that I have found, at least so far, in my limited time with the game, is to try to avoid the roots as much as you possibly can and try to take a direct route, an extremely direct route all the way to the core of the plant, if you can. Obviously, it's very difficult to do that when, you know, the plant has time to kind of regenerate itself and to expand and to fortify its position as much as possible, because it can do that and it will do that. Just trust me on that. It will do that. It becomes an extremely dangerous menace if you leave it alone for any length of time. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about with the top right plant that we are no doubt going to be having some issues with in a little bit of time, I assume. Anyway, as you can see, if you cut off the roots, look at this. If you cut off the roots at these particular positions, then immediately the rest of the growth disappears. And I think that that is a wonderful, wonderful feature, I guess, mechanic, whatever you want to call it. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to build this. Can I rotate the building? Yes, I can. There we go. Okay, so this is a factory. This is your light factory. And what I want to do is I want to get this, and I want to obviously get a huge amount of... I want to get some more power as well. But I do want to get A lot of light tanks. I want to get a lot of light tanks. A massive amount of them in actual fact. So, okay. Now we're just going to play the game again. We're just going to let it run. And I need to pretty quickly make my way over to where the green plant is, the other green plant in the top right, because if we take too long, it is going to expand very quickly. It's already covered 32% of the map, technically. And it's very oppressive, which is actually one of the very, very cool effects of this game. Because you are up against it. It is a very, very cool experience in my opinion. Okay, so let's actually just make our way over here. Oh, for some reason I can't move over there. I don't know why. My storage is now full, which is obviously a bit of a problem, but that's okay. We're loading our next shuttle, which is obviously fine. And now what we're going to do is we are... let me see. I think we'll probably go over here. Okay, so now what we can do is we're just going to get a couple of extra light tanks. I'm going to try to get 250. We need 250 in our in credits. So I'm going to wait until our shuttle takes off one more time, and then I'm going to build a battery. And then here's the thing, bear this in mind. Every single building takes a huge amount of power. However, the massive power drain that we have right now is this thing. This is a huge, massive power drain. However, when you have a battery, that power drain doesn't hurt as much. Oh yeah. See, now that's the secret, you know. That is the secret. So basically what you're going to be able to do then is you're going to be able to have a much wider degree of freedom when you build the battery. And that's exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to build that battery right there. And we are probably just going to leave the shuttle for one more load, and then I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn it off, and then we are just going to focus on unit production as much as possible. As you can see, my tanks are already built. We've got 2 groups of tanks. We've got 4 light tanks in the top and in the bottom of this particular area. Now, the main problem that we're going to see here, is having enough firepower. I know. It's a little bit obvious, you know, it's a little bit obvious that we're going to have some problems with firepower, but it's true. We are going to have a little bit of a problem with it. So what I'm going to do is we are going to... Oh, yeah, okay, apparently I'm going to take off once again. I didn't really want to do that, but yes, apparently I am taking another shuttle. There we go. Okay, so that's going to take off, and what we're going to do is we're going to now turn that to inactive. And then I'm just going to continue moving these over here. And as you can see, look at this. We've already destroyed this, and look at that. It's now receding immediately, which is absolutely fantastic. If you can cut that off, it is extremely, extremely powerful to do that. Same thing with this over here. We could potentially go upwards and do it that way if we wanted to, and that's going to limit the spread by a pretty significant margin. So all I'm going to continue doing now is I'm just going to continue building these things. And I'm also going to get another mine here. I'm going to get one there, and going to get one right about here, I guess. I just want to try to mine as much as possible, because if we're mining, we're going to be able to create so many more light tanks, and light tanks are extremely, actually very effective. I personally prefer the light tanks over the heavy tank or the medium tanks, because you can get medium tanks as well. And the medium tanks, they have a much larger cannon, as you might expect. They are able to pack a huge punch. However, the problem with them is that they do have a minimum range. In other words, if you're really close to the opponent, you can't do damage to them. So they're more of a long-range solution. And I would highly recommend using those if you're, you know, needing some long-range bombardment or what have you. But yeah, look at what we could do here. Look at this. I am now completely cutting off the plant's growth here. And we are limiting its growth by a significant enough amount that it is now at 35%, which is really, really nice. And we are going to continue just building as many of these tanks as we can get our hands on. Unfortunately, my mining is a little bit slow, but I don't really want to continue sending these things. I mean, I guess I could now. My battery is pretty good, as you could see right here. You see my battery right now? This is with a battery instead of having no battery. It really makes a huge, huge difference because I would be out of power right now almost instantaneously if I did not have a battery. I am out of power, but it took a little bit of extra time, I guess. Yeah, maybe I need more. Maybe I need more solar panels or something like that. You can get better solar panels as well, by the way, but you need an advanced tech station to be able, or should we say, an advanced tech center to be able to unlock those additional buildings. And unfortunately, I don't really want to save up 1,000 ore and 500 credits to be able to do that. So I'm being a little bit of a cheapskate at the moment with that. And I'm basically just trying to use what I can with my current faculties, as it were. Now, I am actually going to do a little bit of something here. I'm going to see if we can... let me just place these over here. I am probably going to be turning this off now. I think it's a little bit too annoying, actually, you know, with the amount of power that it's using, but I don't know whether that's actually... I think it's probably worth it, isn't it? I think it is probably worth it. And no doubt, as you can see from the absolute densest part of the plant here, because obviously at the very beginning you saw how easy it was for our light tanks to get through, right? Well, as you see, the plant does become... I don't even know whether to call it evolved or anything like that, but it does become much more difficult to deal with over time. And so much so that what is going to start happening is exactly what has happened to my tanks in the north. As you see here, they have gotten completely, shall we say, surrounded by the plant. And basically, the only reason why they're even alive right now is just because they are consistently shooting and fighting for their lives. And that's pretty much how that's working. Anyway, I have built a medium tank because I wanted to show you the medium tank, okay? So, this is it. As you can see, this is the effective firing range. So the green is where it fires, and everywhere else is where it cannot fire. The light tanks, on the other hand, they can fire from any distance, which is obviously the main strength of that, and why I personally prefer the light tanks. However, as I said before, the medium tanks do pack much more of a punch. So if you need big firepower, you know where to go. So basically, this is my strategy. This is pretty much my strategy the entire time. I don't really go for too many defenses. You can build walls, by the way. You can build walls and all kinds of pretty cool things. Like, for example, look, there's a wall right here. I can literally build a wall, and I can just go like this, like that, all the way across if I want to. And you can even build a gate too, if you like. And yeah, you can literally just do something like that, and then you can exit the gate and so on and so forth. And you can do those kinds of things if you want to. You can also use machine guns, mortars, and so on and so forth to stop the spread of the opponent. And for me personally, I don't know. I prefer playing it like this because it allows me much greater freedom. It allows me to kind of do a bit more, as in, you know, I like being able to move around and, you know, be a little bit less static. But obviously, it doesn't really matter. It very much just depends on what your objective is. Because this is obviously an example level where the objective is to eliminate the hostiles. I'm going to assume that there will be some levels that isn't going to have anything to do with eliminating the actual opponent. And instead, it's going to be doing a completely defensive effort. And so if you have, you know, complete and utter defense on your mind, of course, you're going to be building a wall. For example, you've got a wall right here, you've got a gate, and then you can build a couple of machine gun turrets, and you can see there's also line of sight with these things. So it's very important to try to build them in such a way so that they have the maximum amount of line of sight. So that's also a thing, by the way. Obviously, as I've already said, line of sight is a big, big deal. And there you go, there's the victory. Boom, there it is. So we were able to very effectively eliminate the opponent. But just bear in mind, it can go very, very differently. If you decide to go somewhere else, for example, let's just say that you want to go down into the bottom right, I would highly recommend, if you're going to play the demo, I would highly recommend sending your light tanks immediately to any one of the plants, I'd recommend the pink one, because I think the pink one is the most difficult to deal with in the late game. So if you go, over there and you eliminate the pink plant super fast, then you're going to have a much easier time of dealing with the green plants afterwards. But trust me, these things, they can get out of control super fast. And that's the reason why this game is really fun and very satisfying as well. I love the way that the plants look when you eliminate one of the roots and then they start receding, and it's very satisfying to see that. Anyway, if you would like to check out Calyx, there is a link in the description. Add it to your Steam wishlist, play the demo, all that wonderful stuff. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.